The man didn't stand out until Conrad saw his face. Hunched over a plate of corned beef hash, this man delicately lifted the food into his mouth, but then clanked his fist against the counter. Conrad glanced around to check on Bree, who was waiting tables. The man's forehead was a pink slab of beef. His pupils were 2 black olives, and his lips were rolled up smoked meat. He wasn't a large man, but he didn't need to be with a face like that. "I will not be paying for this meal," he announced. "Please, and thank you." Conrad stepped towards the man. "Sorry?" "I will not be paying for this meal," he repeated, and pointed the prongs of a fork at Conrad. "If I have to say that again, then that means that you are being rude, sir. And I will have to stab you with this fork. Please and thank you." "You have to pay for this meal. That's how all of this works." The man stood and stared at Conrad. "I will not be paying for this meal. Thank you very much." He stabbed the fork into Conrad's shoulder. Bree hollered and threw a bowl of borscht at the guy's head. It shattered against the wall and clinked on the floor. Conrad pulled the fork from his shoulder and pointed at the man. It didn't sting until he took it out, but when he did, it felt like the guy may as well have chopped his arm off. "Holy guacamole!" shouted Conrad. The man dropped a card on the counter. "There are certain parties who have taken an interest in 2 individuals. One of these individuals stands before me, Conrad Arms. The other individual is Todd Arms. This is the information that I have come here to communicate." He nodded at the card. "I suggest that you take care of my lunch, please and thank you. As owner of my own small business, I have no choice but to charge such meals to my employer. I hope you understand the difficulties of being self-employed. I suggest that you contact me using the information on this card, please, and thank you." He had a way of talking through his teeth that reminded Conrad of a shut kettle, the steam trying to squeeze its way out. "My final suggestion is that you never point a fork at me. Please, and thank you." He snatched the fork out of Conrad's hand and stabbed him in the other shoulder. "Holy cow, not again!" Conrad grunted. The man pointed at the card with 2 fingers and was gone. Bree and Conrad looked at each other, uneasy in the silence of the diner. Bree looked around at the tables and attempted a joke. He mistook Conrad for the lunch special. The diners looked at her for a moment and then continued with their meals. When Conrad finally went back to fixing sandwiches, he thought about the possible reasons that anyone would want to talk to him and Todd. The only thing he could think of was that they had both gone to the door of Clone's house. Whoever lived inside must have tracked them down at the diner. He picked up the card from the counter. It read, "Dick Buck, the polite private investigator." He put the card in his wallet and hoped that he would never see that man again. He had only been thrown into this conspiracy a few days ago, and he was already running out of places to bleed.
That was from Tom Halford's debut novel, Deli, available at Amazon.com.